All right, Thorn and Whisper, this is a quick video for you, as promised, to remind you of how we create a rubric and then create an assignment based upon that rubric. And so what I'm going to do is guide you through on my screen. Um, so what you see in front of you is your Schoology screen as you log in. And then you're going to, of course, go to a course that you want to add a rubric to. So I am not going to choose either of these because I'm playing in my sandbox course, which I'll show you from the title of it here. So what you're going to do, let's talk about creating a rubric first. You're going to do that from Gradebook. You're going to go to Grade Setup from Gradebook. Over to the right, remember that there are scales and rubrics, so click on rubrics. And then I'm going to add a rubric. And Whisper, you and I were talking yesterday about a stickball game rubric and then adding some criteria to it, one of which you said was fine motor skills. And so I am going to go to add rubric, and then this is the same form that we pulled up yesterday. So this is going to be called the stickball assessment rubric. And then remember that you can add as many criteria as you want. And so something you said yesterday that I said a moment ago is the fine motor skills is what you were looking for, and then we could add a description of what we mean by fine motor skills. The other way that we could go about this, though, is by looking at the various learning objectives that are out there and available to us. And so you click on Add Learning Objectives, and then you'll see Common Core, Next Gen Science, and then you'll see state standards. And so because we're talking about personal wellness and because we're talking about New Mexico personal wellness and probably PE standards, we can look at the content standards for New Mexico. If we scroll down, we'll find physical education, and we can look at, I think you're teaching ninth grade right now. And then these are all of the standards, and then underneath those are benchmarks. So if we click the little arrow, it'll open up to more specifics. And without reading through this too much, I don't see anything right here that says fine motor skills, but I'm sure we can find that. I know that's in the PE standards. And so let's just click on this standard, pretend it's fine motor skills, and add learning objectives. And what you'll find is a brand new criteria that is standards based, that has this rubric attached to it. We can change the numbers, and we can change the descriptors of the numbers. And so one of the things that we had talked about yesterday was having a sort of a scale of divergent, where students are thinking beyond just the lessons that they were taught. And then you might have proficient or grade level. One suggestion, though, is make sure you keep the same scale, keep the same numbers, and then as best you can, keep the same descriptors of the numbers. And Thorn and Whisper, I would recommend that you meet and try to come up with a common scale that you both agree to, because that's going to make it a lot easier when it comes to evaluating your data once you download it and want to take a look at what your data is communicating to you. So after you're done with that, and remember, create as many criteria as you want, the total points will add up, and we're going to create that rubric. And unfortunately, we have to add some information in there. So I clicked create, and now we're going to create an assignment that's associated with that rubric. So if you go back to materials, you will see a place to no thanks. You'll see a place to add materials. You're going to add an assignment. This is the same window that popped up yesterday for us. We are going to say stickball assessment. We can write up a little blurb about the stickball assessment. We're going to give it a due date. Then we're going to make sure that for the scalar rubric, that we choose the rubric we just created, stickball assessment rubric. Notice the 16 points showed up because that's how many points were available in the stickball assessment rubric. We're going to choose a category. I'm going to say tests, but you could always create a new category. Notice that in the learning objectives, this is the one that I created, and this is the one that I took from the New Mexico content standards that I clicked on. And then you are going to click create, and that is it. You're going to have a new assignment that comes up in your students' Schoology page and in your Schoology page, stickball assessment. You can click on that. You can see the rubric itself. You can see that when you go through here, you'll be able to add comments. It's in your gradebook, and that's it. A really easy way to start. So build a rubric and create an assignment that's attached to that rubric. All right, so I think that both of you said we would try to have 2 assignments in Schoology by next week for the next time we meet up and talk about next steps. Let me know if you have questions. Thanks.